Welcome to our basic training video on expense reports. This video will show you how to set up expense reports from the perspective of a basic user. And today, I get to be Tom, and I have basic access rights. In our system, expense reports are always related to a project. That project can be an external project, of course, but it can also be an internal project. For example, a non-billable administrative project to which you expense the purchase of office supplies to. Or another example is a marketing project to which you expense marketing materials to. This means that it will be easier for you and your company to submit an expense report, as each expense report is for a specific project and ultimately allows you to get reimbursed more quickly. Let's start by creating an expense report. So we do this by clicking on our Add button, which we would do from our expense report page, which we would select by clicking here. We click our Add button like so. We can select the project for which I've just worked on, which is bridge inspections. I can type in a destination and type in a purpose, construction, site inspection. I then click the green next arrow. Here I can pick the particular activity that I've worked on, which is the construction administration. The start date we'll leave as today, and the end date we will select for the end of the month. Expense reports are typically for one entire month, but for the purpose of this video, it'll be for the remainder of the month. So we'll type in a little description. We will click the next arrow, select the category for which this expense report is applicable, next. Okay, now we're going to create the specific details of the transaction. So let's see, the date of this transaction is today. We leave it like so. We type in a little description, which was the purchase of a tool for clients with cash, and it was reimbursable. The amount of the transaction was $500. We paid cash, select like so, and since this is 100% reimbursable, we leave this value at its default of 100. We click on our green next button, click it again, and here we are. This is the line item with all the details that we just entered into our expense report. We can create another line for this particular expense report by simply clicking on the new plus button right here, and we can select the category for this particular line item, which we'll leave as expenses. We click on next. Here we can type in all the details. This happened today. The description is lunch with the clients. Use the corporate credit card, and therefore it is not reimbursable. Lunch cost me $100. I can select the corporate credit card like so, and again, this is not reimbursable. In other words, this is 0% reimbursement. We can click the next button, and here we have both line items for this particular expense report. I can also add a line item to my expense report directly from my timesheet. And so let me go to my timesheet by clicking this timesheet icon like so. So here's my timesheet for the week. It's been partially filled out. You can see I've put hours in the construction management activity of the bridge inspection project, as well as some administrative stuff. So I'm going to add, on Friday, I'm going to add some time towards a meeting that I was at. It was an off-site meeting. So I'll put in 5 hours and type in some comments. And then I traveled to that meeting, so I'll put in travel time of 3 hours with some comments. Now if I tab over, I eventually come to my mileage and my expenses column. Now these two columns are expenses and can be automatically put into our expense reports for us. This, of course, is project-specific, activity-specific, and time-specific. and if there is already a draft expense report opened up, it'll just dump those lines right into that expense report. If an expense report has not been created, then the system will automatically create that expense report for us. So when we click on mileage, we see here a list of mileages that have already been put in. These were put in from users themselves who previously put in miles for this particular client. And so that gives me a good idea as to how long it'll take to go to one particular client. So I can type in the time, I can add a comment, hit tab, and I can add an expense now, which I'll put in $15 for parking. And now I come over here to approve it. So I just submit the approve button, click OK, and I should be good. Now, it's important to note that since billing is typically done monthly, we strongly recommend that expense reports be submitted monthly as well, instead of submitting one after each activity. Let's go back to those expense reports now. And if we click on the expense report that we just created, which is this one here, and we click on all lines, we see this is the $500 tooling purchase that is billable, reimbursable. We see the $100 for lunch, which is not, and then we see the mileage with a value attached to it, and we see the parking fee with a value attached to it. Now we can also click on our print button here. Let's click on that right now. And this creates for us basically a PDF of all the details of this expense report. And we see all the details we had entered. If we scroll down, we see here the amount that's reimbursable to our customer. We see the amount that's not reimbursable to the customer, which, remember, it was the lunch. And then we see the amount reimbursable to me, the employee, which is very important. We have two lines here for signatures. These can be either written physical signatures or they can be electronic signatures. You can scroll back up. The expense reports follow the same process as for the timesheets. Expense reports can be approved by clicking the green approval button or rejected the same way timesheets are. This is typically done by a project manager and then by a general manager or team leader. Again, just as done with the timesheets. So as you can see, the expense reports are easy to create, easy to submit, and easy to manage, allowing you and your company to get paid faster and more easily by your clients. Thank you very much.